Welcome back. You know, uh, when we talk about basketball legends, there's always this debate, like, are they truly appreciated?
Mhm.
Well, today we're going to tackle that question head on with Julius Dr. J. Irving.
Yeah,
You guys gave us a really interesting mix of sources for this one. Articles, Reddit discussions, even a YouTube interview.
a great mix.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we uncover together.
I think what's really interesting is Dr. J's story. It's not just about basketball. It's about how his journey from the ABA to the NBA really shaped the game we see today and his own success beyond the court.
That's what makes this so intriguing. We've got to set the scene, though.
Hmm.
Can you remind us about the ABA and why it's so important to understanding Dr. J's legacy?
Absolutely. So the ABA, the American Basketball Association, it was like a rival league to the NBA
Okay.
back in the day, known for this really flashy style of play, faster pace, and, that red, white, and blue ball.
Oh, yeah. Very different.
Very different from the NBA game. And Dr. J got his start there, and his dominance in the ABA is almost legendary. 3 championships in 5 seasons.
Wow.
But since the ABA folded and merged with the NBA, its history kind of gets overlooked sometimes.
So he's a champion even before he even enters the NBA.
That's right.
Now we can't talk about Dr. J without talking about that nickname.
Of course.
And we have that YouTube interview where he talks about its origin. It was high school, not even on the court.
That's right. High school.
Right.
But here's what I find fascinating. The nickname Dr. J, it really speaks to this persona that he cultivated.
Oh, yeah.
His friend was the professor. He became the doctor. Even before his NBA success, he's already thinking about image, thinking about how to stand out.
It's like he's branding himself, like larger than life.
Right.
But beyond the nickname, you mentioned his ABA dominance. 3 titles is huge.
Yeah.
But his NBA record is interesting, too.
Right.
All-star in all 11 seasons.
All 11.
Most players, they kind of peak and then they decline.
Right.
But he's consistently at the top.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell us?
Well, this is where comparing him to players of today gets really tricky. The ABA was really known for just its individual talent.
Okay.
It was less about set plays and more about improvisation.
Hmm.
Dr. J just thrived in that environment. When he joins the NBA, he brings that flair with him, but he adapts. He still excels even within this more structured system.
It's like he's mastered 2 different basketball languages.
Exactly.
Now, we have some Reddit threads debating if he's overlooked historically.
Mm-hmm.
How does his ABA background play into that?
It's hard to compare different eras. We have less ABA footage than NBA footage, so his highlights aren't as widespread.
Right.
But players like Shaq, there's that great article in The Ringer where Shaq talks about Dr. J as his role model.
Wow.
He even went to Dr. J for advice before joining the Whitkers.
Seriously.
That kind of influence goes beyond stats.
Okay, so there's this unwritten code of superstardom passed down from one generation to the next. We got Shaq training harder because Dr. J is watching.
Right.
That's incredible. And speaking of incredible, the man practically invented the dunk contest, right?
Well, he was definitely key to its birth. So the 1976 ABA All-Star Game, it wasn't planned.
Okay.
But Dr. J taking off from the foul line,
Oh, yeah.
that's a moment that just captures what he brought to the game. Sudden, artistic, never seen before.
And you can bet everyone watching wanted to dunk just like him after that.
Of course.
But it wasn't all flash. You mentioned adapting to the NBA, and then there's his business success.
Mm-hmm.
Coca-Cola Bottling Company, a cable TV station. That takes more than just athletic skill.
Exactly. And we have to look at this alongside that quote from that Academy of Achievement interview.
Hmm.
He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, "The real stars use their heads."
Mm.
He's applying that same intelligence he used on the court to business, to philanthropy.
And to mentoring the next generation.
That's-
It's like there are multiple layers to Dr. J, and we're just scratching the surface here.
Absolutely. And what I find so compelling is that each layer tells us something about his values, his approach to life, and how he built a legacy that goes way beyond just basketball.
It's like he had this blueprint for success that went beyond basketball.
Right.
But it's interesting you mentioned that quote about using your head,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking about those iconic Converse commercials.
Yeah.
He wasn't shy about being flashy.
Yeah.
So how does that all fit in?
That's where the nuance comes in, right?
Okay.
He was flashy, but it was calculated.
Mm.
Think back to that ABA style,
Yeah.
improvisational, but he was still in control.
Right.
He understood that entertainment was a part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And in that same Academy of Achievement interview, he talks about how education honed his analytical skills,
Oh, wow.
even on the court.
So it's not that being flashy is bad. It's that there needs to be substance behind it.
Yeah,
He's not just dunking for show. He's using his athleticism strategically.
exactly.
Okay.
And that strategic thinking carries over into everything else.
Mm.
His business ventures weren't random, they were calculated risks.
Hmm.
His philanthropy, especially with the Lupus Foundation after losing his brother,
Right.
deeply personal but also well planned.
We've got that UPI article that mentions his early public service announcements,
Yeah.
even before the big endorsements.
Mm,
That's not the usual path for a rising star.
right.
What do you make of that?
It shows he understood the power of image, yes,
Okay.
but also the importance of giving back.
Hmm.
He wasn't waiting for someone to tell him to do it, he was already there.
Well,
And later he even says that that early involvement opened doors.
oh, interesting.
People saw him as more than just an athlete.
So it's like those good deeds become part of his brand, almost like an investment in his future.
Yeah.
That's pretty savvy.
And it challenges the idea that athletes should just stick to sports.
Right.
He was already building this multifaceted persona.
Hmm.
And think about the impact on other players. Here's this guy who's stylish, exciting, but also articulate, involved in the community.
Yeah.
It sets a new standard.
He's raising the bar for what it means to be a successful athlete.
Right.
It's not just about stats, it's about being well-rounded.
Hmm.
But let's go back to that debate about his legacy, especially those Reddit discussions.
Okay.
Why does it even matter if he's considered overlooked or not?
It's not about rankings. It's about how we understand history.
Oh?
If we only focus on NBA championships, we miss the impact of players like Dr. J,
Right.
who shaped the style of the game. That
Yeah.
ABA influence is still felt today.
Yeah.
And recognizing that gives us this much richer picture of basketball's evolution.
It's like those discussions are actually about how we define greatness in basketball.
Yeah.
Is it just titles, or is it about changing the way the game is played?
Right. And that Basketball Network article where Dr. J compares the ABA and the NDA, it's not just about the rules, it's about the culture.
Okay.
He talks about the egos being checked at the door in the ABA.
That team-first mentality,
Yeah.
which is a huge contrast to the star-driven NBA we see now.
Right.
And it makes you think about what's lost and gained as the game evolves.
We've got two leagues merging different playing styles, clashing, and Dr. J is right in the middle of it.
Exactly.
It's not just about him being great, it's about understanding the forces that shaped the game as we know it today.
Exactly. And his insights,
Mm.
his reflections on those differences are so valuable
Yeah.
because he lived through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that even in something as seemingly simple as a sport,
Right.
there's this whole complex history.
Yeah.
And understanding that history helps us appreciate the present.
You know, as we're going through all of this, what really strikes me is how much respect people have for Dr. J.
Yeah.
It's not just he was a great player.
Right.
It's something deeper.
It comes through in everything we've looked at.
Mm.
The YouTube interviews, those Reddit threads, even those business articles.
Yeah.
There's this genuine warmth there.
Like they admire him as a person, not just an athlete. Right.
And I wonder if that's part of why the overlooked question comes up.
Mm.
It's not just about stats.
Yeah.
It's about feeling like his impact on the culture of basketball, on the idea of what a superstar can be, isn't fully recognized.
That's a really insightful point because what we see consistently is that he treated people well, he was thoughtful, and he gave back.
Right.
Those things matter, especially when we're talking about role models.
We've got that Horatio Alger Association profile
Yeah.
highlighting his dedication to youth development, even decades after retiring.
Decades.
It's not just about a one-time donation.
Right.
It's about ongoing commitment.
And when you connect that to his emphasis on intelligence and education, it paints a picture of someone who truly wants to elevate others.
Yeah.
He's not just saying, be like me. He's saying, here's how you can achieve your own potential.
So it's almost like his legacy has two sides.
Mm-hmm.
The spectacular highlight reel, Dr. J, and then this quieter but equally powerful side of someone who leads by example, who uses his platform to make a difference.
Exactly. And I think what makes him so compelling is that those two sides aren't separate.
Right.
They're intertwined.
Yeah.
The same intelligence and charisma that made him a legend on the court
Mm.
are what fuel his success and his impact off the court.
This has been an incredible journey.
Yeah, it has.
We've uncovered so much about Dr. J, his unique nickname, his ABA dominance, his influence on future superstars, even his business savvy.
It's amazing.
But what really stands out is that this isn't just about basketball.
It's about the power of using your talents and your platform to make a positive impact on the world.
Wow.
Dr. J understood that true success isn't just about individual achievements.
Mm.
It's about the legacy you leave behind and the people you inspire along the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think it's this. Dr. J's story reminds us that true success is multifaceted. It's about cultivating intelligence, embracing opportunities, and using your influence to lift others up.
It's about being more than just a one-dimensional figure. It's about striving to be well-rounded, just like Dr. J. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the life and legacy of Julius Erving. We hope you found it as fascinating as we did.